Over the weekend, former US Ambassador Nikki Haley was on conservative radio talk shows Glenn Beck. I never really got used to having Glenn Beck. I mean, he came out and said that look that's beside the point. But Nikki Haley was talking about the Confederate flag and how it was hijacked. Now, before I even go into mentioning how this is so stupid, let me clarify what Haley had to say. She told Glenn Beck, "I think the more important part is that it should never have been there, being the Confederate flag. The grounds are a place for the grounds are a place that everybody should feel a part of. What I realize now more than ever is people were driving by and felt hurt and pain. No one should feel pain, and I think it's because of the pain of the Confederacy being tainted with." I mean, she goes on and say, I couldn't look my children in the face and justify it staying there." And but I'm going to discuss why it's so BS. But here's the basic part about this. Here's this guy who comes out with this manifesto holding the Confederate flag and had just hijacked everything that people thought of. That, of course, is talking about Dylann Roof, who stormed into a South Carolina historic black church and gunned down 9 black church members, and now he's on death row for this. She goes on to say, "We don't have hateful people in South Carolina. There's always the small minority who are always going to be there. But the people saw it as service, sacrifice, heritage. But once he did that, there was no way to overcome it." And that she blames the media and to define what happened. They want to make this about racism. They want to make it about gun control. They want to make it about the death penalty. 2015 was a painful time for our state. The pain was and still is real. The pain. They want to make this about racism. They want to make it about gun control. And they want to make it about the death penalty. The last one I will more or less be on borders about. There are people who deserve to be on death row. I want to consider child killers. People who kill children just for them being there. It's like, you created them, you took them out, you don't deserve to live. That's my opinion. But let's go back to the fact that the Confederate flag was raised by the Confederacy until the Civil War happened. And let's break this down. Haley says we don't have hateful people in South Carolina. And considering that she was governor in member of Congress in South Carolina, kind of speaks a lot. There's always a small minority who are always going to be there, but people saw it as service, sacrifice, and heritage. Let me clarify something to you, Nikki Haley. The heritage of South Carolina, the heritage of the Confederacy, was about slavery. I would love to hear people explain to me how this is not just slavery. What is the Confederacy about? And I know people are going to argue that, well, the North had slaves too. The North had slaves. I mean, we had slaves too, but the North had slaves. They should be as equally blamed as us. Except for the fact that the Constitution had pretty much liquidated. Well, I don't know, that ain't the right word. But what I'm trying to say is that the Constitution said no more slaves. We are not going to have slaves anymore. So let's free the blacks. Let's free the Native Americans. They are part of us now. Let's welcome them. Confederacy said no. We don't want no amendment. These are our people. We want to keep them. They work for us. They are ours. We don't need to pay them. We are slaves. We earned them. Nikki Haley's service, sacrifice, and heritage about the Confederate flag is BS. And now let me go back to what she meant by 2015. Let's just say 2015 was the last time the South Carolina had the Confederate flag because of what happened to this historic church. I mean, she goes on to say, I continue to be proud of the people of South Carolina and how we turned the hate of a killer into the love of each other. Lie. Complete lie. Because there are going to be people down in South Carolina. In fact, there are people in North Carolina. There are people in Mississippi. People in Alabama. People in Louisiana. Racism is still there. It's not just in these southern states that were once occupied by the Confederacy. In fact, it's all around. I could even find racist people in Wisconsin. I could find racist people in California. It's not that hard to find them. All you have to do is keep your ears out and they'll sprout out racism or sexism or xenophobia, homophobia. Hate is still hate. And hate is still around. And it doesn't matter where it's coming from. People are going to hate for the fact that they hate people who are not them. And big example, our boy at the top, Donald Trump, President of the United States. Ha! Gotcha! He's still mouthing off about the Central Park Five and how they should be killed, even though evidence has found out that, hey, they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. And now to say that Dylann Roof, who had been found guilty of 33 counts of federal hate crimes, including 9 counts of capital murder, by the way, for Haley to say he hijacked it? No. No, he did not hijack the Confederate flag. He posed with it, that's for sure. He posed with different Confederate symbols on his chest, on his manifesto, on his pictures. But to say he hijacked the Confederacy is complete morality. Let me clarify. The Confederacy was about torturing, enslaving, and killing black people for the sake of being black people. To soak your mind even further, racism has been around longer than the United States has been. To say that racism died because of what Dylann Roof did at this historic black church is a complete lie. Racism has actually gone up since Donald Trump took office. There's no dispute that. There really isn't. And one of the people who didn't like this interview was Representative James Clyburn, when she said that he was insulted and stunned. It was pretty obvious. He said, I read that she said Trump is doing God's work. And that I just think that she's trying to appeal to that which Trump appeals to, which is the complete racism. To say that Nikki Haley accuses Dylann Roof of hijacking the Confederate flag is complete nonsense. She's not fooling anyone. She's not fooling me. And I'm white, by the way. And then let me go even further to say that if I was racist, I would be racist to the white people. I would be racist to the people who are going after the black people because they're black, or going after the Asian people because they're Asian, or the Muslim people because they're Muslim, or the gays because they feel like, That's not what God wants. God wants a man and a woman. This is Nikki Haley's Confederate stupidity. There's nothing more to say about this. The Confederate flag and Nikki Haley were one and one. The reason they took down the Confederate flag in South Carolina was because of Dylann Roof shooting up these black people because of a race war he wanted to start. I should have probably mentioned that firsthand, but for her to say that Dylann Roof hijacked the Confederate flag, is not real. It is bull because Dylann Roof was actually Dylann Roof was a racist. Nikki Haley has proven to be a racist, and the people who stand by the Confederate flag to today are racist. People will argue that, well, I have the Confederate flag, but I'm not racist. I just have the flag because it's a heritage. Then you're a racist because you're waving the Confederate flag around, which is racism because of the slaves and torture of the black people long before the United States. Your argument is moot. Your argument is bullshit. Your argument is rape. Let's be clear. Nikki Haley continued to use this strategy for a political reason. And that's out of State Representative John Moore. J.A. Moore. Dylann Roof didn't hijack the Confederate flag. Dylann Roof hijacked the lives of black people. Why? Nikki Haley will say that, hey, he hijacked during the shooting. No. Dylann Roof killed for the sake of the Confederate flag.